Want me to go on?
Oh, yes, ready.
Okay, at some point, as things were getting bad, that the Germans were having a lot of defeats on the Russian front and the resistance was more active, the Germans decided to occupy the whole country. And at that time, if you remember, the Italians were on the side of the Germans, so the southern part of France was also patrolled a lot by the Italians, which was a little better because they were not as gung-ho as the Germans were. But things became worse and worse as the Germans were being defeated all over. So the nuns came to my mother and said, you know, it's getting too dangerous. They're having all kinds of roundabout. I'm scared. If they come and ask for your daughters, I won't be able to lie. But she said she had a plan. An hour away from there was another nun school. And if I would go there, the oldest, and teach Latin and geography and English, they would take me, my sister, and the other two little girls. So we agreed. It was an hour away from Grenoble. My mother took us there by train. Then she went back to Grenoble, where she rented a room with the inhabitants, also with false papers. And I think we stayed there about a year, maybe till 1943. And as things became more and more and more dangerous, it was decided that my mother would take my sister and the other two little girls in the mountains and put them in another boarding school. And the cover was that we were refugees from Paris, because a lot of people, French people, non-Jewish people during the war ran away from occupied zone. And then she and I went back to Paris and had a room in a house of ill repute. And then eventually Paris was liberated and we went back to our apartment. And that was that. My father never came back. My grandparents, 4 uncles and an aunt were also deported. 2 of the uncles came back from the camp. And everybody started living their life again.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you. I have a couple things to ask.
Go ahead.
And then we'll come. Then we'll just.
Yeah, go ahead, ask the question, because you know I go.
Yeah, this is fantastic. One of the questions that I ask my students all the time after we've studied quite a bit is what they believe is the proper response to genocide. So when we see things happening, when genocides are occurring, I ask you come up with some ideas. What is the proper response? What should you do?
The response is don't just stand by and look. Try to do something. Try to help. In any way you can. Any way you possibly can.
Excellent. One last bigger question deals with Holocaust education, because of course this stuff is going to be used to promote Holocaust education. If you could tell me why you think Holocaust education is so important.
Well, it is very important because people have to know. People have to know what happened and what can happen. And as a matter of fact, since the Holocaust, we see genocide all over. And people have to know about that. You have to speak up, otherwise people will forget. And young children, unless you teach them, will not know.
Excellent. Stop. Yep.